Hello, I'm Tom McCook, this is my cybersecurity career sim 3 project. So for the executive summary, I run a Nmap scan on a trusted network to find my target device being the Windows 7 machine. Finding that address for the device I'm looking for, I'm able to find open ports and even run some vulnerability scans to see what ports are open and what ports could potentially be exploitable to vulnerabilities they have on the ports. And a port that I'm able to find a vulnerability on is our port 445, which runs SMB, server message block, and that is used to communicate TCP and IP addressing. So exploiting the vulnerability on that port, I'm able to gain access to this Windows 7 machine and look for potentially interesting or important files that could be of use to myself and what I'm looking for. Also on the device, I create a new user and elevate the permissions for that user, which will give me more access to more files that a user may not be able to have access to. I also clear event logs on the device, which will help keep mask my trace while I'm digging around, looking at all the files on there, so that if a user is to log into the device and see that there's more files being ran than usual, then it won't put any suspicion that device has been compromised in any way. And I gain access to the root directory thanks to elevating my permissions, and I make changes to the default website. So the first step here is I run an Nmap on the trusted server using the .1/24 address up at the top. And what comes up are two addresses, one of them being the .19, which is the uh, Kali Linux machine that I am using, that I'm going to be running the Metasploit framework service on to try to exploit the Windows machine. And the .20 is the Windows machine, the address that I've been looking for. And it even shows there what ports are open and what potentially could be vulnerable. Using the address that I found, I was able to do a tac script equals vuln command, which at the bottom picture gives me a little more information on what ports are vulnerable and which ones may not be. Like port 80 saying it isn't vulnerable, and port 1433 having some more information saying that it potentially is vulnerable. With those results too, through that script, that's the vulnerability script, I'm able to see that there is a vulnerability on the SMB, the Microsoft SMB, which that would be port 445. And through the Metasploit framework service, I'm able to gather the information and cross-reference both sets of information I have. As you can see in the middle, I have the port 445 right there. And I'm able to, at the bottom, I'm able to search. So search type exploit MS17-010. That's the vulnerability that I'm looking for. And here's I'm able to run the vulnerability, and I'm able to set the IP address for that to the Windows address so that it's able to run through. As you can see at the bottom, I'm in a interpreter session, meaning I now have access into this Windows 7 device. Here is the first file that I was looking for, the hoot.txt file that I was able to find in the ninja/desktop directories. And I was able to use cat to open that file, which I find the root flag in there, which is what I was looking for. And the next file I was looking for is the hashbrowns1 text This one was located in the public uh, directory, which I was able to open once again with cat. And there is the information side of it that I was looking for. What was also in the directory was the hi.jpg file, and the last file that I was looking for. So on the top left picture, I found that in the public directory, and I was able to download that to the Kali machine that I was using to exploit the device. The bottom left picture is the downloaded picture that I'm viewing inside the Kali machine, and on the right side is the picture inside the Windows machine, which I was able to gain access to by creating a user, which I see here. I use the command netuser to make a username unknown and create a password for that. But first, before that, in the interpreter session, I dropped it into a shell session, which allowed me to use Windows commands, allowed me to use the netuser command to add the user. The second picture, I am able to add the user into the administrators group, giving it elevated permissions from a standard user. That allowed me to do a lot more things and access more files that could have been potentially interesting. As you can see on the screen on the desktop screen, it has the Ninja profile that was already there, and now the new user that I just added. I was able to clear event logs by using the clear EV command that was in the interpreter session. As you can see, it wiped numerous amount of records from from the Windows machine. As you can see on the left side of the screen, there were there was 2497 application events and 3,724 system events. And after running that command, I was able to, on the right side, clear those events. And that once, as I said before, masks my presence, that I was there, and really doesn't show that I was going around looking for files and however long it took me to find these files. And finally, I gained access to the root directory inside the machine, and I was able to make changes to the default website. Now, I found the default website because it has the same IP, it has its IP address as its which I looked up through the Google Chrome on the website or through the machine. As you can see on the left side, those were the changes I made. But on the right side, I was able to use a simple text editor, which being the notepad, to run an HTML code at the bottom. And I was able to add heading element and a paragraph element, which added the text on the left side. Hey there, enjoy the stay. See you later. And after I saved that code onto the notepad, and I typed in the address into Chrome, that's when the changes were saved into the website. Okay, and thank you. Now I will show you my demonstration.